Are you willing to explore AWS IoT with nodered? If your answer is yes, then you are watching the right video. Hello everyone, my name is Hariharnath. Welcome to IoT Frontier, where I share with you the latest and greatest in IoT technology. In this video, I'll show you how to connect to AWS IoT Core from nodered with MQTT protocol using the TLS certificates. So stay tuned until the end of this video to get all the steps right. Before we dive into the content, please provide your support by hitting the like button and subscribe to the channel. So let's first open AWS console. So I'll sign in to the AWS console, enter my password. You need to have an AWS account to work on this tutorial. If you don't have an AWS account, click on the top right corner to watch my previous video on how to create AWS free tier account. To create free tier account, you need a credit card, and if you don't have a credit card and want to use AWS, you can explore AWS Educate account from the top right corner. So search for the IoT Core service and click on IoT Core. So now we'll be here. So in the AWS IoT Core, we need to create a device. So first, to create a device, you can click on connect one device, or you can go to the all devices things, and here also you can click on create a thing. So I'll use this create a single thing and click on next and give the name. So I'll give the name as IoT Frontier underscore thing. I'll leave everything optional as it is, and I'll use no shadow. And here the important part is device certificate. I'll be using the recommended part, which will automatically generate me a new certificates. Now I need to create a policy. So as I don't have any policy, I need to create a policy by clicking on create policy. It will open a new tab, and here I'll use the name as IoT Frontier policy, and here in the policy effect, choose the policy action as star, which will give you all AWS IoT actions. And here as well, you can use star so that all the policy resources will be allowed. This is very useful for POC purposes, but you should use it caution when you are using in production. So and in production, you need to specifically grant permissions for different actions. Now I have created the policy. I'll close this tab, and here in the previous tab, I have this policy. I'll click on this, and then I can create a thing. So now we need to download the certificates. First, we need to download the device certificate. Next is the public key and the private key. Next, we need to download root CA. So root CA 1 is enough. So I'll download that. So now the certificate has been created. So after downloading the certificates, we have to start the nodered. So I have already started my nodered. So using the PowerShell. So you can go to PowerShell and type nodered, and within few minutes you will be able to open, load the nodered, and it will give you the server and in which it is running. You can use this URL to open it. So now I have opened nodered. So I'll delete this and create it from scratch. So first I need to take the inject node, and later on I need to provide MQTT out. So I'll connect the inject to MQTT out, and I'll also use the debug node to see the values being sent in the logs on the right side. So once it's done, I need to go to MQTT and set up the AWS endpoint. So I'll use add new MQTT broker. So here I need to edit it so that I can create. So AWS new endpoint, and here the server address of the AWS we need to find out. So where we can find out is, if you scroll down under the settings, you will be having endpoint mentioned here. So you can copy the endpoint and paste it here. So by default it is using TLS. So MQTT over TLS is 8883, that is a port, and you need to select use TLS configuration, and you can click on edit so that you can add the certificates. Now I'll add the fresh certificates that I have downloaded. Now I'll try to upload the certificates. So I have put everything under downloads AWS. So first I need to expand the name so that I can see the names properly. So this is the certificate.pem. So I need to select that first under the device certificate, and private key I need to upload whichever has the private.pem. So this is private.pem. And next thing is CS certificate. So that is this one. So once this is done, you can just click on update. And you can use MQTT 3.1.1 or 5. I'll use 5 because that is being latest. I'll select that, and you don't have to edit anything under messages or the security here. Then click on done. So once this is done, you can modify the timestamp to be having a JSON value. So I have a JSON ready. I'll paste it. So in this JSON, I have a name, humidity sensor from nodered, and the value I'm putting as 56. So I have done, and now we can click on deploy. So once this is done, you should first notice that if MQTT has connected to the AWS endpoint or not. If that is not, then you have to redo all the certificates and uploading all those things and properly setting up the endpoint and the port. So once this is done, you can click on inject node so that it will inject a value. So it has given us the JSON object, and as per the debug, so which topic that we are trying to send, that also matters. So here the mistake that we have done is we haven't provided any topic. So I need to provide IoT Frontier / nodered, and the QoS I'll select as 1, and retain I can select false, and done. Now deploy it. Now we can click on successfully we are able to inject, and it is not getting disconnected. So now we can go back to MQTT test client under AWS IoT, and again provide the topic, that is IoT Frontier nodered, and subscribe to that topic. So when I click on inject again, you should be able to see the value at this timestamp. So what I can do right now is I'll make this as a repeat at an interval. So every 5 seconds it will inject. Click on done and deploy. So you can go here and see that every 5 seconds the data will be injecting. You can see, so 131753, 137058, and the data being injected every 5 seconds. So once you have done that, you can stop this interval so that you don't consume AWS messages, and deploy. Now finally, I'll give you a bonus part. So in the bonus, I'll introduce to you the one palette node which will be useful for you. So that is nodered node data generator. It will give you dummy JSON values so that it will be useful for testing purposes. So what I can do is I can go to data generator, I can search for this, and here I'll use the same inject, and it will go to data generator. In data generator, you can see it has some dummy fields like first name, last name, all these things are created automatically. And I'll remove this connection and provide this connection. I'll clear everything and deploy. Now if I inject node, you can see there is some values automatically generated, and those values also been reflected here. So by this way, you can generate dummy values and send the values to the AWS. That's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned how to use nodered to send data to AWS IoT Core using MQTT protocol. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more IoT videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.